Part 1. The Echoes of Midnight. The stars are a treacherous sea, and tonight they whispered secrets to those willing to listen. I wasn't sure if it was the echo of their song haunting the back of my mind or the grating whine of the freighter's engines that kept me awake. Either way, sleep was for the dead or the unoccupied, and I was neither. The bridge of the Resolute smelt like burnt circuits and stale coffee. Gus, our pilot, sat hunched over the controls, his brow furrowed like a war-torn field. "She's holding, Captain," he said, his voice carrying a hint of surprise. "Barely." "Good," I replied, leaning back into the unyielding chair that had molded itself to my shape over too many sleepless nights. "Let me know when 'barely' turns into 'not at all.'" His laughter was a dry, raspy thing. "Don't worry, Captain. You'll be the first to know when we're about to become cosmic flotsam." Beyond the viewport, the cosmic anomaly, our destination, loomed like a monstrous eye in space, its swirling colors defying the boundaries of sight and sanity. I felt its pull, a constant nudge at the edge of consciousness, as if it was daring us to question its existence. The locals back on Titan had a name for it: the Echoes of Midnight. "Captain, you ever think we're getting too old for this?" It was Eli, our engineer, who spoke, his voice crackling over the intercom from the engine room. He always had a way of breaking tension with a timely quip or existential musing. "I mean, I signed up for exploration, not lightspeed Sudoku." I smiled despite the gravity outside. "Eli, if we don't come back, I promise you can have my collection of vintage Hydra spanners." "That's a deal, Captain," he said, chuckling. Before Eli could add to his list of mechanical groans, the proximity alarm blared, a shrill reminder that space has a way of sneaking up on the inattentive. I snapped upright, my heart thudding a warning. "Contacts, Gus." "Multiple signatures," Gus said, his voice losing its usual levity. "Looks like a mix of debris and possibly ships. They're scattered around the anomaly." "Wooden planks," I quipped. "Tell me we've stumbled onto an ancient interstellar pirate ship." "See for yourself, Captain." With a tap, I pulled up the external feeds. What greeted me was a graveyard of twisted metal and forgotten dreams. Ships of all shapes and sizes floated aimlessly, their hulls scarred by time and violence. "All those ships," I mused, "drawn here like moths to a flame, and not a single one found a way back." "Well," Eli cut in, "guess they're lousy role models." Underneath his jest, I sensed the unspoken fear we all shared. The anomaly was a siren, and we were willingly riding into its embrace. "We're not alone," Gus announced, his grip on the controls tightening. "I'm picking up a faint energy signature, could be a distress signal." I leaned forward, every instinct honed by years of plying the void screaming in protest. "Set us on a course to investigate. Stay alert." We slid through the debris field like ghosts, the Resolute sensors scanning each derelict craft for signs of life or danger. As we closed in on the source of the signal, a ship emerged from the shadows, an alien craft unlike anything in our databases. Its design was organic, almost as if it had been grown rather than built. The hull shimmered with iridescent hues, pulsating with a rhythm that seemed to echo the anomaly's own pulse. "That's no distress signal," Gus muttered, eyes glued to the readouts. "It feels more like a beacon." "Or a trap," I countered, unwilling to let hope bloom unchecked. "I've seen too many go out that way, starry-eyed optimists turned cosmic dust." We cut the engines, drifting closer, tension coiling tight in my chest. The ship's surface was marked by alien runes, their purpose a mystery. I allowed myself a quiet moment of awe, then snapped back to reality. "Eli, ready the EVA suits. We're going in." Within minutes, we were suited up, the weight of our decision as heavy as the gear strapped to our backs. The airlock cycled with a hiss, cold vacuum biting at the edges of sanity as we stepped into the void. The alien ship's airlock accepted us, an invitation or a riddle, I wasn't sure. We moved cautiously, lights flickering over walls lined with luminescent moss that seemed to breathe, expanding and contracting in concert with our movements. "Looks like nature and tech had a baby," Eli observed, his voice an echo in my helmet, "and then left it in the cosmic woods." As I chuckled, a figure appeared at the end of the corridor, a creature that defied biology as I knew it. It was an amalgamation of crystal and plant, its limbs refracting light into a spectrum that danced across the walls. "I guess we're not alone," I said to Eli, my voice barely a whisper. The alien tilted its head, and a sound like wind through chimes filled the air. I couldn't understand the words, but the intent was clear, a greeting, an invitation. "What now, Captain?" Eli asked, his usual humor absent. "We listen," I replied, knowing full well this decision would alter the course of my life and perhaps the universe's ever-expanding narrative. My heart pounded in time with the anomaly's pulse. We were on the brink of something monumental, and I intended to seize it, whatever it might cost. Part 2: The Heart of the Labyrinth. The alien's song echoed through the corridors, a melody that resonated somewhere deep within me. I took a cautious step forward, Eli close at my side. Each footfall seemed to awaken the ship around us, the walls pulsing with light in response to the crystalline being's presence. "This place feels alive," Eli whispered, his voice crackling with equal parts awe and unease. "If it starts talking back, I'm out." Our alien host motioned gracefully, gesturing us to follow. With no better options or, frankly, ideas, we obliged, stepping deeper into the belly of the beast. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, a cathedral of light and sound. The ceiling arched far above, shimmering with constellations I didn't recognize but felt unnervingly familiar. "What is this place?" I murmured, my question aimed at no one in particular, though I hoped the crystalline being might answer. Instead, it pointed toward the center of the chamber where a translucent orb hovered, spinning languidly. It was a map, but not of any star system I knew. This was a structure of connections, a lattice of pathways and nodes that seemed to extend beyond the physical realm. "Captain, you're seeing this, right?" Eli asked, all replacing his usual sarcasm. "Yeah," I replied, unable to tear my gaze away. "It's beautiful." Our guide touched the orb with a delicate limb, and the map morphed, focusing on one particular node that pulsed in time with the anomaly outside. I felt its message, a destination, a call, possibly even a warning, ripple through the chamber. "Think it wants us to go there," Eli said, stating the obvious but giving voice to the question gnawing at my mind. "But why?" I wondered aloud, "and what happens if we do?" The alien's chiming voice responded, though its words remained a mystery. Yet there was an urgency, a plea underscored by its gestures toward the map. It was then I realized this was no mere invitation. It was a request for help. "Looks like we're not just explorers anymore," I said, meeting Eli's gaze. "We might be the cavalry." Eli shrugged, eyes twinkling. "I've always wanted my own laser horse." We both laughed, a welcome sound against the alien ship's ethereal harmony. Humor was a tether to sanity in the midst of uncertainty, a lifeline I'd learned to cherish. Returning to the Resolute felt like stepping back into another world, a more familiar, if slightly more cramped, universe. Gus greeted us with a grin, more relief than joy. "You guys look like you've seen a ghost, or made friends with one." "You wouldn't believe it if we told you, Gus," Eli said, removing his helmet and shaking out his hair. "And you know what? we're going to try anyway." As we shared our tale, Gus' eyes widened, his disbelief giving way to a rare reverence. Captains usually don't end up saving space ghosts, do they? Sounds like the start of a tall tale. "Let's hope it doesn't end up a cautionary one," I replied, already plotting our next steps. "We've got a new heading, and it's through that cosmic light show out there." Gus nodded, his hands already flying over the controls. The Resolute hummed with renewed purpose, her engines a comfort rather than a cacophony. The alien map was our guide, the ship our steadfast steed into the unknown. As we accelerated toward the heart of the anomaly, I felt the ship groan beneath us, reality stretching and twisting in ways it was never meant to. Colors danced beyond the spectrum, and time seemed to stutter, leaving me momentarily displaced yet undeniably exhilarated. "I've got a bad feeling about this, Captain," Gus muttered, though his hands remained steady. "That's the spirit," Eli chimed in. "At least it's not a boring feeling." The anomaly welcomed us, the ship shuddering as it was enveloped by the swirling luminescence. It was a wild ride, the kind that made your stomach flip with excitement or dread. I wasn't sure where I landed on that spectrum just yet. And then we emerged. Beyond the veil of shimmering chaos lay a space station unlike any we'd ever seen. Monstrous in scale, it orbited a pulsating star that defied classification, its structure a dance of sleek metal and vibrant alien flora. It was a living relic, a testament to some forgotten civilization's genius. "Welcome to the science fiction version of Versailles," Eli quipped, "or maybe nature's loft apartment." "Keep your eyes peeled," I warned. "We don't know what's waiting for us." As we approached, the station's docking systems came alive, beckoning us with an elegance reminiscent of our crystalline guide. The Resolute settled into place, her groaning hull silenced in the station's embrace. The airlock cycled and we stepped into a garden of wonders. Alien plants reached toward us, their leaves whispering secrets lost to time. Ahead, more crystalline beings moved with purpose, acknowledging our presence with subtle nods. "Captain," Gus said, his voice a whisper, "this plow. See, it's like an ark." He was right. The station was a sanctuary, and we had been invited to its heart. But as we ventured further, past corridors alive with light and sound, I felt a growing unease. The message contained in the map resonated louder here, a drumbeat of urgency. In a central chamber we found it, the core of the station, its machinery humming in harmony with the living elements. And there, among the consoles and crystals, a human figure sat slumped, their suit bearing the markings of a pilot long thought lost. "What the hell?" Eli muttered. The figure stirred, lifting their head to reveal eyes that mirrored the anomaly's glow. "You made it," they rasped, voice rough as a dying star. I didn't think anyone else would hear the call." We'd come seeking answers and found another survivor instead, a piece of history, alive and waiting to rewrite the future. The stakes had shifted once more. Whatever mystery bound these beings to the anomaly, it now bound us too. And as I looked into the eyes of this fellow traveler, I knew one thing: our journey was far from over. We had crossed into the unknown, and now there was no turning back. Part 3: The Keeper's Secret. In the presence of history, time slowed to a reverent crawl. The figure before us, clad in a suit that bore the scars of countless journeys, seemed an echo from another era. His eyes, though weary, held a spark, a flicker of life kindled by our unexpected arrival. "Who are you?" I asked, my voice breaking the solemn silence. He shifted, a grimace pulling at his lips. "Captain Darius Holt, or at least I was." He chuckled, a sound brittle as ancient parchment. "I guess you could call me the Keeper now." The Keeper, a title that carried weight and mystery, tethered to the anomaly that had drawn us here. I could see the questions swirling like a tempest in Eli's eyes. Gus, uncharacteristically silent, leaned against the wall covered in bioluminescent vines, eyes narrowed in contemplation. "What is this place?" I pressed, gesturing around at the vibrant flora and humming machinery. "And why are you here?" "This station," Darius began, his voice a tapestry of regret and resolve, "is a remnant of the architects, a race long gone, their secrets embedded within these walls and those crystalline beings you've met. The architects, legends whispered of their existence, a civilization so advanced they eclipsed the stars themselves. Their creations were said to be living testaments, scattered across the universe, waiting for those capable of understanding. When I stumbled upon this place," Darius continued, "I was just a soldier running, a fugitive of sorts. But the station, it called to me just as it called to you. I learned, adapted, became its keeper." "And the anomaly?" Eli asked, his voice tinged with awe. "That is the architect's heart," Darius replied, his gaze distant. "A source of power and knowledge beyond our comprehension, but it's also a prison. It keeps the station alive, but it also cries out for release." I glanced at my crew, their expressions mirroring my own, a blend of disbelief and determination. It was a tale spun from the dreams of explorers, and yet here we were, standing in its reality. "What's changed?" Gus asked, cutting to the core of our dilemma. "Why now?" "Because," Darius sighed, the weight of ages etched into his features, "the anomaly is destabilizing. It needs to be repaired or released, and if left unchecked, it'll tear this region of space apart." The statement hung in the air, a chilling reality we could not ignore. I felt the enormity of it press down on me, the responsibility prickling like 1,000 tiny stars. "So what do we do?" I asked, the question a lifeline thrown into the depths of this unfolding mystery. "We unlock the heart," Darius replied, pointing to the console at the center of the chamber. "But it requires a key you brought with you." I blinked, taken aback. "Us?" "Yes," he nodded. "The anomaly is drawn to those who can resonate with its frequency. It saw something in you, something it needs." As Darius spoke, the station seemed to hum in agreement, the very air vibrating with anticipation. We were chosen, or perhaps merely present at the right or wrong time. Eli was the first to break the charged silence. "So, how do we get this key business sorted, Captain?" "By doing what we do best," I said, a wry smile tugging at my lips. "We wing it." Darius led us to the console, its surface a kaleidoscope of symbols and circuits. I placed my hand upon it, feeling a connection surge through me, a bridge to the anomaly, to the architect's legacy. "Focus on the resonance," Darius instructed, his voice steady. "Let it guide you." I closed my eyes, centering myself amidst the storm of cosmic energy. The station responded, the console lighting up, its symbols shifting in a dance of purpose and possibility. The crystalline beings gathered around, their melodic voices weaving into the fabric of the moment. Together, we formed a symphony, a chorus that reached out into the anomaly's heart. And then it happened. The core shifted, revealing a chamber bathed in a light that defied description, a radiant heart pulsating like a cosmic heartbeat. The station trembled, the vibrations reaching a crescendo as the anomaly opened to us. "Captain," Gus whispered, reverence in his tone, "it's beautiful." But beauty was a veneer for the truth that lay within. The anomaly beckoned us with promises of knowledge and power, yet warned of an unyielding price, a choice that was mine alone to make. "I can stabilize it," Darius said, the urgency in his voice pulling me from the brink. "But I'll need your help to channel its energy to mend the fracture." I nodded, instinct driving my next words. "We're with you, Darius." The station's core glowed brighter, enveloping us in its radiant embrace. Together we worked in harmony, a dance of minds and machines bound by purpose. The anomaly's song rose, a crescendo that filled the chamber with its bittersweet melody. As the frequencies aligned, I felt the fracture sealing, the destabilizing fork, ease quieting into a gentle hum. And then silence. The station settled, the light dimming to a gentle glow. We had done it, wrested control from chaos, restored the architect's legacy. Darius sighed, a sound of profound relief. "Thank you," he said, the gratitude in his eyes a testament to the burden we'd shared and overcome. As we regrouped, the crystalline beings offered soft, chiming farewells, their purpose fulfilled for now. The station was once again in balance, the anomaly's heart a steady pulse of life. "Captain," Eli said, clapping me on the shoulder, "that was one hell of a symphony." "Yeah," I replied, feeling the weight of our journey beginning to lift, replaced by a sense of wonder. "But the encore's going to be a doozy." We had delved into the unknown, faced the echoes of an ancient civilization, and emerged changed. The universe had offered us its secrets, and we had answered its call. Now we returned to the Resolute with renewed purpose, the stars our guide on an ever-unfolding odyssey. Part 4: The Starless Threat. As the Resolute pulled away from the ancient station, the anomaly's glow faded into the tapestry of stars. We were leaving a legacy behind, but the true cost of our actions loomed unspoken among my crew. It was the kind of silence that held its breath, waiting for the other shoe to drop in the vastness of space. Gus, who had resumed his usual place at the helm, broke the tension with a chuckle. "You know, Captain, I was getting used to having an interstellar disco ball as our neighbor. Now it feels a bit dark out here." "Don't worry," Eli chimed in, absent-mindedly fiddling with a spanner. "I'm sure the universe still has plenty of surprises left for us, and if it runs out, I'll start hiding things in your bunk just to keep it interesting." "I'll keep that in mind," I said, trying to absorb the familiar banter as a buffer against the sense of foreboding that had settled in my gut. As if on cue, the comms console crackled to life. The voice that came through was strained, urgent, and wholly unexpected. "Resolute, this is Commander Alley's from the TCS Vanguard. We're in dire need of assistance. Please respond." I recognized the name, a ship meant for deep space patrols, outfitted with the best tech the Terran Council could muster. If she was in trouble, then the stakes were higher than I'd imagined. "Commander Alley's, this is Captain of the Resolute. What's your situation?" I replied, signaling Gus to adjust our course toward the source of the transmission. There was a pause, and I could almost feel the weight of her decision to trust or remain wary. "We've encountered an unidentified vessel, scrambled our systems, and disabled our engines. We've got injured on board and supplies running low. Can you assist?" "Hang tight, Commander. We're on our way," I assured her, casting a glance at my crew. Eli and Gus nodded, their expressions shifting from levity to resolve. As we approached the coordinates, the Vanguard emerged from the starlit void, adrift and vulnerable. Its sleek frame was marred by dark scorch marks and an eerie silence that belied its past strength. "What in the hell did that?" Eli muttered, scanning the damage. "Looks like something chewed on it and spit it back out." "Whatever it was, it's not here now," Gus noted, scanning the area. "But we'd better be ready for an encore." We docked gently, the Resolute's airlock sealing with a metallic hiss. The corridors of the Vanguard were a harsh contrast to the living architecture we just left behind, cold and utilitarian. Its usual hum was replaced by the dissonant silence of malfunctioning systems. Commander Alice met us halfway, her uniform marked by wear and her eyes candid with fatigue. "Thank you for coming," she said, her voice a terse mix of relief and urgency. "Glad to be of help," I replied. "What happened here?" "We were investigating some unusual energy readings," Alice explained, leading us to the bridge where crew members worked amidst flickering screens. Then this ship appeared, unlike anything in our databases. Before we knew it, they disabled us and vanished. "Vanished?" Eli asked, incredulous. "As in magic tricks without the applause." "More like a nightmare without the waking," Alice corrected. "We're sitting ducks, and I've got people who need medical attention." "Gus, see what you can do about their systems," I ordered. "Eli, check on the injured. I'll stay with the commander." As we dispersed, I felt a familiar pull toward the unknown. The Vanguard wasn't just a victim. It was a harbinger of something larger, a piece of a puzzle yet to reveal its full picture. "Captain," Alice said quietly once we were alone, her eyes searching mine, "there's something else. Before they vanished, they transmitted a message, a warning or a threat. We couldn't decipher it." My curiosity piqued. I asked, "Do you still have the transmission?" Alice nodded and played it back for me. The room filled with an alien language, harsh and guttural, but beneath its facade, a rhythm that twisted and turned like the anomaly's own song. "Sounds like it's part of the same family as those architects," I mused, a chill running down my spine. "Whatever it is, it's not friendly." "We can't stay here," Alice said, urgency returning to her voice. "We need to get this ship moving." "Understood. We'll help you get back online, but be ready. I've got a feeling this isn't over." As she nodded, I pushed past the unease gnawing at me, focusing instead on the task at hand. The Resolute systems synchronized with the Vanguard's, knowledge shared to bridge the gap left by violence and mystery. Hours passed in a blur of repairs and triage, the ship coming back to life under our hands. Yet as we worked, the question loomed large. What kind of enemy were we dealing with, and what had they left behind? With systems restored and the wounded stabilized, Alice and I met once more on the bridge, the stars now mere backdrops to our silent caunt. "Amplation." "Thank you, Captain," she said, her gratitude a fragile thread against the vast cosmos. "We're always happy to help, Commander," I replied, feeling the camaraderie of shared purpose. As we prepared to depart, Gus approached, his expression even more serious than usual. "Captain, I've been going over the data logs, and there's something you need to see." A chill of anticipation swept over me, the air growing heavier with each step toward the console. Gus pulled up a file, revealing a spectral analysis of the transmission. "It's not just a message," he explained. "It's a signature, a kind of calling card." I studied the patterns, the repetition of symbols familiar and yet foreign. It was an invitation and a declaration. "So we're the dance partners now?" Eli asked, joining us with a rueful grin. "Seems so," I said, the weight of our next journey settling on my shoulders. "But this isn't a dance we can refuse." As the Resolute pulled away, the Vanguard fading into the starlit distance, I felt the universe's gaze upon us. We had traded one mystery for another, and with it, the promise of new challenges and discoveries ahead. The stars once again beckoned us forward, daring us to unravel their deepest secrets. And as always, we would respond, fueled by the thrill of the unknown and the echo of distant, starless threats. Part 5: The Veil of Shadows. The Resolute sailed the starry currents, leaving the Vanguard and its mysteries behind. Yet the signature we'd unearthed weighed heavily on my mind, a specter tying us to a new, unseen foe. Each star we passed felt like an eye watching, waiting to see how we'd respond to the cosmic game now unfolding. Gus and Eli occupied themselves with repairs and diagnostics, their banter masking the tension of our situation. It was a testament to our camaraderie, a bond forged in the crucible of shared challenges and discoveries. "So, Captain, what's next on our agenda?" Eli asked, leaning against a bulkhead with an air of nonchalance that belied his curiosity. "I'd say we have two options," I replied. "We either hightail it back to a safer corner of the galaxy, pretending nothing happened, or we dive deeper." Gus snorted, not looking up from the console he was recalibrating. When was safer ever an option for us? "Point taken," I conceded. "Looks like the universe has dealt us a hand, and it's only polite to play." As if the cosmos were eavesdropping on our conversation, the ship's sensor array pinged, a solitary sound that cut through the silence, promising revelations or ruin. Gus sprang to action, pulling up the readouts on the central display. "Captain, we've got something on long-range sensors," he announced, a mixture of caution and curiosity in his voice. "There's a structure, large and stationary." "Another station?" Eli asked, straightening. "Not quite," Gus replied, furrowing his brow. "It looks like an asteroid but with artificial readings. Could be some kind of hidden base." The suggestion held the allure of danger, an invitation wrapped in shadow. I glanced at Eli, whose grin was a little too eager for comfort. Seems our shadowy friends left us a breadcrumb. "Should we follow it, Captain?" Gus queried, though we all knew the answer. This wasn't a decision fueled by sense but by instinct, our guiding star in the dark. We altered course, the Resolute adjusting her trajectory with a grace that belied her age. The asteroid loomed ahead, its surface pockmarked and barren, save for a single entry point, a jagged maw in the rock's face. "That looks inviting," Eli remarked, feigned cheerfulness masking the tension beneath. "Home sweet home for someone, I guess." As we maneuvered closer, the ship's lights swept across the asteroid's surface, revealing structures half buried in the shadows. It was an outpost, that much was clear, an isolated refuge or perhaps a prison. The landing was careful, deliberate. We disembarked, the airlock opening to reveal a tunnel carved from stone, its walls etched with alien symbols that glowed faintly beneath our lights. "Reminds me of a haunted house ride," Eli whispered, his voice carrying a hint of mischief, "only without the cheesy skeletons." I couldn't help but chuckle, the sound a balm against the foreboding atmosphere. Let's hope it stays that way. We proceeded cautiously, every step echoing against walls that seemed to listen. The passage opened into a cavernous chamber, its ceiling lost in shadows. Something flickered at the edge of the light, a figure hunched over a control panel. "Who goes there?" a voice demanded, sharp and brittle as breaking glass. "We mean no harm," I called back, raising my hands in a gesture of peace. The figure turned, revealing a face lined with age and doubt. His eyes, though weary, were sharp and questioning. "Why are you here?" "We followed a signal," I explained, taking a cautious step forward. "We mean to understand it, nothing more." He studied us, weighing our words against whatever fear had brought him to this place. "You're not them," he finally said, his voice softening. "Not the ones who hunt." "No," I assured him, curiosity piqued. "But who are you hiding from?" "They call themselves the Starless," he replied, his expression darkening. "Outcasts who have stripped the light from their souls, seeking power in the shadows." The name resonated with the unease that had clung to me since the Vanguard, a thread connecting our discoveries. I signaled for Gus and Eli to stand down, offering a sense of camaraderie. "We're not your enemy. We're looking for answers just like you." He nodded, relief softening the lines of his face. "Then perhaps you can help. I'm Leander, keeper of this outpost, a place once hidden, now exposed." "What are the Starless after?" Gus asked, joining the conversation with an engineer's curiosity. "Knowledge," Leander replied, gesturing to the ancient consoles. "The secrets of this place, the power it holds. I've been guarding it, but I fear they are close." We exchanged glances, the significance of his words clear. The Starless were more than a threat. They were a force unraveling the galaxy's tapestry, thread by thread. "So what's our move?" Eli asked, his tone a careful balance of eagerness and caution. "We protect this place," I declared, feeling the mantle of responsibility settle once more. "And if the Starless come, we stand ready." Leander offered a grateful nod, his trust fragile yet sincere. "Then let us prepare. Together we might just hold the line." As we set to work, fortifying the outpost and deciphering its mysteries, I felt the universe shift. We had crossed into a realm where shadows held sway, where the light fought to survive. The challenge was daunting, yet it was ours to face. Together, we would navigate this new web of intrigue, bound by the stars and the promise of the unknown. The Resolute, steadfast and true, remained our beacon, a promise amidst the encroaching darkness. Part 6: The Dance of Shadows. Our time in the outpost had become a dance of anticipation and urgency. The darkness outside seemed to breathe, a living entity lying in wait. The Resolute stood silent, a sentinel amidst the encircling night. Leander, our unexpected ally, moved with a determined grace, guiding us through the outpost's depths as though the stone corridors were his own flesh and bone. We worked tirelessly, Eli and Gus weaving their expertise over the ancient consoles, coaxing secrets from the reluctant machines. Each discovery was a step forward in a waltz of deciphering and defense. "Feels like we're rewriting an ancient opera," Eli said, his voice tinged with reluctant admiration. "One wrong note and the whole thing could collapse." Gus nodded, fingers dancing over controls that hummed with newfound life. "Let's just make sure our audience doesn't get rowdy." Within the heart of the outpost lay its treasure, a repository of knowledge encoded in patterns of light and sound. It was a library without walls, a testament to an extinct species' genius and foresight. Leander described it as the Whispering Chronicle, and it sang to those who dared to listen. "All this time I've been its guardian," Leander mused, his voice a soft echo in the chamber. "And yet it now seems I was merely the prelude to your arrival." "There's no such thing as merely in this universe," I replied, offering a smile that carried the weight of shared destiny. "Every step leads us somewhere, even if we don't know the dance." His laughter was a gentle sound, and for a moment the shadowed threat seemed distant, held at bay by the light of understanding. But the reprieve was short-lived. The comms crackled, a harsh intrusion that shattered the serenity. "Captain," Gus called, urgency sharpening his tone. "We've got movement outside, multiple contacts coming in fast." I rushed to the console, the display lighting up with the unmistakable signatures of ships, starless, their approach devoid of subtlety. They flickered like embers in the night, promising destruction with every beat of their engines. "Looks like the main act's about to start," Eli commented, his usual humor dampened by the situation. I turned to Leander, whose expression mirrored my resolve. "You know this place better than anyone. Any defenses we can activate?" He nodded, eyes fierce with determination. "There are energy shields, but they've lain dormant for years. It will take time to power them." "Then let's not waste a second," I replied, signaling the crew into action. As Leander and I worked to awaken the outpost's defenses, Eli and Gus prepared the Resolute, ready to defend our fragile refuge. The stone walls hummed with life, ancient circuits pulsing as though waking from eons of slumber. Outside, the starless ships maneuvered like predators circling prey. Their sleek forms glided through the void, weapons gleaming with an eager malevolence. "They're closing in," Gus reported, fingers a blur over the controls. "Ready to engage." The outpost shields flickered to life, an azure glow enveloping the structure, a barrier against the approaching storm. It was a tenuous bulwark, its power drawn from forgotten depths. "Shields up," I confirmed, casting a glance at Leander. "Let's hope they hold." The first volley struck, the impact reverberating through the stone like a seismic wave. The shields held, but the Starless lacked patience, a relentless barrage against the fragile barrier. Eli's voice cut through the din, a lifeline in the chaos. "They're coming in for boarding. Get ready, Cap." The outpost shuddered under the assault, but I could see the determination mirrored in my crew's eyes, a resolve forged in the crucible of shared trials. And then silence fell. The cessation of fire was not a reprieve, but the herald of a new onslaught. Through the outpost's corridors the Starless came, a shadowy legion, eyes and minds twisted by their pursuit of power. Their leader emerged, cloaked in darkness, moving with a grace that belied the menace within. "You trespass in our domain," they hissed, voice like brittle wind. "The knowledge here is ours." "Knowledge belongs to those who honor it, not hoard it," I retorted, stepping forward. "We're not here to steal, we're here to protect." Their laughter was a harsh sound, devoid of joy. "Protect? You cannot even protect yourselves." The battle that ensued was a symphony of chaos. The corridors became our stage, the shadows and light playing across the combatants in an intricate ballet. Each clash was a testament to our resolve, a refusal to yield to darkness. Leander fought beside us, his years of solitude falling away as he defended his charge. "The Whispering Chronicle will endure," he vowed, his strikes resonating with a power born of conviction. By the time the dust settled, the Starless lay defeated, their threat quelled for now. In the aftermath, the outpost halls felt different. The shadow had receded, leaving a sense of peace in their wake, a peace hard-earned but fleeting. "We've bought time," Leander said, his voice a gentle echo, "but they will return." "Then so will we," I promised, feeling the bond between us stronger for the trial we'd endured. "We'll stand together." As we prepared to depart, the Whispering Chronicle's song softened, a testament to our shared journey. We had danced with shadows, and though the enemy remained, we had proven the strength of our light. The Resolute, our steadfast companion, awaited us among the stars, ready to chart the course set by our choices. Together, we'd continue our voyage, bound by the endless dance of fate and the promise of the unknown beyond the veil of shadows. Part 7. The Dawn of Decisions. The Resolute glided away from the asteroid, its engines a muted rumble beneath the ticking of time. The encounter with the Starless had left us weary but resolute, a bond forged anew in the crucible of conflict. The Whispering Chronicle, with its ancient secrets, had been left in Leander's capable hands, a guardian of the old, preparing for the inevitable return of those who would seek to exploit it. As stars streaked by, I stood on the bridge, contemplating the constellation of paths before us. Each spark of light out there seemed to pulse with untold possibilities, whispering promises and threats in equal measure. The galaxy had grown larger, its shadows more defined, and within them lay the seeds of destiny. Eli joined me, a mug of steaming coffee in hand. "You look like a man with the weight of the universe on his shoulders," he said, offering a half-smile. "Feels like it," I replied, taking the mug with gratitude. The warmth seeped into my bones, a small comfort against the vast cold of space. Never thought our exploration would have us staring down the dark so often. He chuckled, the sound a balm. Goes to show we're doing something right or incredibly wrong. Gus piped up from the helm, his voice threaded with amusement. "Considering we're still in one piece, I'd say right, but I'm open to interpretation." "Always the optimist, Gus," Eli quipped, settling into a chair. "We might have more optimism coming our way," Gus said, his gaze fixed on the console. "Just picked up a signal. It's weak but definitely Terran." My interest piqued, I moved to his side, peering at the readout. "Can you trace it?" "Trying," Gus replied, fingers flying over the controls. "Give me a sec." The seconds stretched into minutes until finally Gus nodded. "Got it. It's coming from the edge of the ether belt, kind of like a beacon, but, well, a little worse for wear." The ether belt, a stretch of space known for its turbulent energy fields and unpredictable anomalies. A natural maze where signals frayed and technology all but surrendered. If someone was out there, they needed help. "We'll check it out," I decided, feeling the familiar pull of duty and curiosity. Could be another ship in distress, or something else entirely. "Something else entirely," Eli repeated with a grin. "I like those odds." The Resolute adjusted course, her thrusters burning blue against the dark tapestry of space. As we approached the belt, the stars seemed to wink in and out of existence, the energy fields playing tricks on our senses. The signal grew stronger, leading us to a derelict ship, its silhouette hulking and forlorn against the backdrop of distant stars. Time had not been kind, and its hull bore the marks of battles long past. The comms crackled with static, a voice emerging from the noise, faint yet persistent. "This is the TCS Odyssey, requesting assistance. Engine's non-functional life support failing." My heart skipped, a name spoken in hushed tones by veterans, a ship lost to the archives of history. The Odyssey was a legend among explorers, a vessel that had ventured too far and never returned. "We've hit the jackpot of ghost stories," Eli murmured, eyes alight with intrigue. We docked carefully, the Resolute anchoring to the Odyssey's husk. A metallic groan echoed through the airlock as we stepped aboard, our lights slicing through the dust-laden corridors. "Welcome to the past," Gus muttered, his voice a reverent whisper. "Let's see if we can find its future." The Odyssey was a time capsule, a relic of a bygone era. Its interiors were a mix of rust and forgotten dreams, the corridors echoing with the whispers of its once vibrant life. Yet, somewhere within lay the source of the signal, a heartbeat persisting against the odds. We followed the echoes deeper into the ship, each step a meditation on the passage of time and the resilience of hope. As we reached the bridge, the source revealed itself, a single console, flickering with a tenacity that belied its age. "Whoever set this up," Eli said, examining the machinery, "they knew they might be here a while." I tapped a few keys, the console responding with a sluggish grace. The screen flared to life, revealing an automated message and a log, a chronicle of the Odyssey's journey, its discoveries, and its final, desperate plight. As we pored over the data, a portrait of the ship's fate emerged. The Odyssey had ventured into the ether belt in pursuit of a discovery, an anomaly unlike any other. But the belt's wrath had been too great, leaving it stranded, its crew lost to the void. "That's a hell of a tale," Gus said, awe shading his tone. "And now it's up to us to finish it." "Let's give them their due," I replied, feeling the weight of the Odyssey's legacy settle upon us. We'll repair what we can and get their story back to Terran space. But as we worked, a revelation emerged from the logs, a final entry, a warning etched into D. Gittle memory. The anomaly the Odyssey had pursued was not a mere curiosity. It was a rift, a passage to a realm untouched by time. The starless, Eli whispered, a chill threading his words. Thereafter this. Fear mingled with determination, the stakes of our journey crystallizing in the dim glow of forgotten screens. The Odyssey's discovery was a Pandora's box, its promise and peril intertwined. We stood at a crossroads, our path shaped by choices yet to be made. The past and future collided within the Odyssey's hull, a testament to exploration, to the indomitable spirit of those who dared to chart the unknown. The Resolute awaited, her engines a steady hum against the cosmic silence. As we prepared to depart, the weight of destiny pressed upon our shoulders, a challenge and an invitation from the far reaches of the universe. Together, we would forge ahead, bound by the stars and the stories waiting to be told. The dawn of decisions lay before us, a new chapter unfolding in the endless journey of the Resolute and her crew. Part 8: The Rift's Embrace. We left the Odyssey with its secrets and stories secured, floating adrift in a graveyard of forgotten heroes. The ether belt stretched before us, a cosmic tempest that guarded its mysteries jealously. Within its swirling depths lay the rift, a doorway to another realm, a promise of discovery shadowed by peril. The Resolute thrummed with anticipation, her systems ready for the journey ahead. Gus and Eli worked side by side, checking and rechecking the ship's every function. There was a tension, a thread pulled taut by the weight of uncertainty, yet their camaraderie lightened the air. "So," Eli said, casting a sidelong glance my way, "do we get hazard pay for venturing where angels fear to tread, or is this just another Tuesday for us?" I laughed, the sound a spark in the dim light of the bridge. Pretty sure we signed up for hazard as a lifestyle choice. Besides, think of the stories we'll bring back. Gus chimed in, his tone dry as ever. Assuming we don't become stories ourselves, of course. The humor was a necessary shield, a way to keep the shadows at bay as we prepared to dive deeper into the labyrinth of stars. The rift beckoned, its presence a siren song woven through the fabric of space. "Course set, Captain," Gus confirmed, hands steady on the controls. "Once we're through, anything could happen." "Good," I replied, my resolve mirrored in their eyes. "Let's go find our future." The Resolute surged forward, her engines a symphony of power and grace. The ether belt enveloped us, its energies licking at the hull like the tongues of a cosmic flame. Stars winked in and out, playing tricks on our perception, but Gus guided us true, navigating the treacherous currents with practiced ease. As we pressed deeper, the rift came into view, a tear in the very fabric of reality, its edges shimmering with an otherworldly light. It was beautiful and terrifying, a threshold between worlds defined by paradox and potential. "Prepare for the unknown," I said, my voice steady despite the pulse of adrenaline in my veins. "And trust the Resolute." With a final breath, we crossed the threshold. The transition was disorienting, a kaleidoscope of color and motion that spun the universe on its axis. Time seemed to stretch and compress, a dance of relativity that left us breathless and weightless. When reality reasserted itself, we found ourselves in a region of space unlike any other. The stars here were different, larger, brighter, and arranged in unfamiliar patterns. Celestial bodies drifted serenely, their surfaces aglow with hues unseen in our own realm. "Welcome to the other side," Eli said, his voice awed as he took in the sights. It's indescribable. Gus whistled softly, fingers tapping out calculations on the console. I'm getting readings that don't match anything we've seen before. It's like the laws of physics came on vacation. We were pioneers in a new universe, explorers in a realm where the rules were rewritten, the familiar replaced by wonder and mystery. And yet, beneath the awe lay a chill thread of danger, the knowledge that we were intruders in a paradise with its own guardians. We need to be cautious, I warned, scanning the vistas before us. This place holds secrets we can't begin to fathom. As if in response, the Resolute sensors flared to life, alerting us to a presence. A structure floating tranquilly among the stars, its design both alien and oddly familiar. It was a station of sorts, its form echoing the architecture of the Whispering Chronicle, yet distinct in its purpose. "We're not alone," Eli murmured, eyes wide with intrigue. "Whatever built that, it's still out here." We approached cautiously, the station responding to our presence with a gentle luminescence. It was a beacon, a lighthouse guiding us toward its heart. As we docked, the air was filled with a low, harmonious hum, a welcome that resonated deep within. Inside, the station was a masterpiece of organic design and technology, its halls lined with luminescent flora and intricate carvings. The air carried a sense of age, a history written in the very stones beneath our feet. "Feels like stepping into a legend," Gus said softly, his usual cynicism tempered by reverence. We ventured deeper, each step an echo of anticipation. In the central chamber, we found what we hadn't dared hope for, a figure, crystalline and alive, the air around it shimmering with energy. "Welcome, travelers," it said, its voice a melody that bypassed language, speaking directly to the heart. "You have crossed the threshold of realities." "Who are you?" I asked, my question weighted with the desire for understanding. "I am the custodian," it replied, its form shifting with the light. "Keeper of the knowledge nexus, gateway to boundless realms." The knowledge nexus, a repository of wisdom-spanning universes, overseen by this enigmatic being. It was a discovery that defied expectation, an opportunity to learn and grow, and perhaps to find the answers we sought. But even as the custodian spoke of visions and possibilities, a shadow passed over the station, a reminder of the starless and their ambitions. The rift had connected more than realms, it had woven destinies together, ours among them. "Others will come," the custodian warned, its tone solemn. "The starless seek what they do not understand. You must protect the nexus." The charge was clear, the path fraught with challenge. We had entered a place of wonder and peril, and the responsibility was ours to bear. As we pledged our aid, the custodian's light enveloped us, the station's hum rising in a chorus of unity and purpose. Together, we would guard the knowledge of this realm, standing as sentinels against those who would exploit its gifts. The journey was far from over, our story still unfolding across the tapestry of time and space. The stars had opened their arms to us, and in their embrace we found our destiny, woven in the rift's embrace and the dawn of a new discovery. Part 9: The Custodian's Gambit. Amidst the swirling cosmos of this new realm, the custodian stood as a beacon, its crystalline form reflecting the myriad colors of the stars. The knowledge nexus, with its unending corridors of light and shadow, was like nothing we'd ever encountered. It pulsed with ideas, a living archive of the cosmos, alive with the whispers of countless civilizations. We lingered in the central chamber, the lights around us dimming to a soft luminescence that felt like a gentle embrace, a silent welcome to travelers from afar. "The Nexus," the custodian said, its voice a harmonious blend of urgency and calm, is more than a repository. It is a sentient tapestry, a confluence of realities. Eli's eyes sparkled with the kind of curiosity that had gotten us into and out of trouble more times than I could count. You're telling me this place can think. Has it got opinions on our chances of survival? The custodian's light flickered, an alien approximation of amusement. It does not judge, but it observes. Every decision made here echoes across dimensions. Gus, ever the pragmatist, leaned against a console etched with shifting symbols. So what's the play? How do we keep the Starless from turning this place into their playground? The custodian's form shimmered, its voice lowering to a solemn tone. There is a defense, a safeguard, but it requires a mind attuned to the nexus, one that can weave its signals into a barrier. A hush fell over us, the weight of the revelation settling like stardust on our shoulders. I met Eli's gaze, reading the same resolve in his eyes that pulsed in my own veins. "So it's a brainwave thing?" Eli asked, feigning nonchalance. "Well, Captain, if there's one thing we've never run short of, it's ideas." I chuckled, the sound bracing against the monumental task ahead. "Seems like we're in for a neural tango. You ready to dance?" The custodian led us deeper into the nexus, its corridors expanding into a vast chamber filled with a lattice of light. Here, the station's heart pulsed in synchrony with the cosmos, a rhythm older than time itself. "This is the convergence," the custodian explained, gestures delineating the network of energy. "A place where minds and matter unite to shape reality." A console rose from the floor, its surface alive with symbols twinkling like stars. As I stepped forward, a sense of awe washed over me, a recognition that we were standing at the precipice of something profound. "Just like old times," Eli said, stepping up beside me, his grin lopsided and reassuring. "Only with less chance of spontaneous combustion," Gus added, a wry smile tugging at his lips. We placed our hands on the console, a surge of connection weaving into our consciousness. The nexus responded, its patterns becoming a symphony of thoughts and ideas that enveloped us, a living tapestry of knowledge and power. I closed my eyes, focusing on the resonance within and without, feeling the nexus's pulse align with my own. It was a dance, a delicate choreography of mind and energy, and I was both the lead and the ensemble. The custodian's voice echoed in the chamber. "Guide the flow, weave the fabric. The barrier will manifest if you trust in the light." I concentrated, drawing on the bonds we'd forged and the paths we'd traveled. Memories unfurled in brilliant cascades, our triumphs and trials, the laughter of friends, the silence of the void, and the enduring strength of unity. The chamber brightened, the lattice of light coalescing into a radiant shield, a barrier of thought and hope, designed to protect the nexus from those who would wield its power without understanding. The starless, those shadowed seekers, would find no purchase here. As the weave solidified, I felt a warmth suffuse my mind, a gentle acknowledgement from the nexus, a shared understanding, a bond forged under the watchful eyes of a million stars. The custodian's light flickered in approval, its form vibrant and alive. "The nexus is safe, for now. Your minds have added a layer of protection that will resonate across realms." Eli opened his eyes, the glow of the nexus reflected in his gaze. "So, this is what it feels like to be a cosmic janitor. We might have a new calling." Gus chuckled, stepping back from the console. "Don't get too comfortable. I hear the hours are terrible and the neighbors." We laughed, the sound a beacon against the silence of the unknown. In that moment, standing amidst the light of the nexus, I felt a profound connection to the universe, a sense of purpose that transcended the everyday dance of survival and discovery. "Thank you," the custodian said, its gratitude a tangible warmth. "Your journey has woven strength into the fabric of this realm." With our task complete, we prepared to leave, the weight of our mission transformed into a shared resolve. The Nexus had granted us its secrets, its trust, a trust we were determined to honor. As we returned to the Resolute, the universe stretched before us, its tapestry of stars and shadows waiting to be explored. We had embraced the rift, and through it, found a destiny entwined with the cosmos, a dance of light and dark across the grand stage of eternity. Together we would continue our voyage, guided by the Nexus and bound by the promise of the unknown. The stars awaited, their stories etched in the infinite night, and we were ready to listen. Part 10: Echoes of Legacy. The Resolute drifted back into the familiar starscape of our universe, the passage through the rift now a memory etched in the fabric of our minds. The Nexus's glow still lingered in our thoughts, its promise a beacon guiding our journey against the celestial sprawl. On the bridge, the atmosphere was thick with the afterglow of our shared experience. Eli leaned back in his chair, absently tracing patterns in the air as if still caught in the Nexus's dance. Gus, ever pragmatic, silently checked the systems, his focus a comforting constant amidst the currents of change. "Back to reality, boys," I said, the words a gentle reminder that our voyage continued. "The stars are still here, old and new alike." Eli quirked an eyebrow, glancing my way. "Does this mean we get to put cosmic saviors on our resumes? Might look good under additional skills." "Sure, but don't expect a pay raise," Gus replied without missing a beat. "Pretty sure we're working for gratitude and the occasional starm-apple pie." The levity was a balm, stitching humor into our tale as we charted a course back toward Terran space. Yet, beneath the banter lay the subtle whisper of the Nexus, a promise and a charge to safeguard the universe's secrets. As we cruised through the velvet dark, the comms unit flickered to life, its crackle cutting through the silence. A voice emerged, taut with anticipation and familiarity. "Captain of the Resolute, this is Commander Alley's. You're a hard ship to track." Alley's, her name a welcome echo of our recent past. I leaned forward, a smile tugging at my lips. "Commander, to what do we owe the pleasure?" Her laughter was a thread of warmth. "Let's just say we've been keeping an eye on things, and you've caught our interest." "Interest?" Eli mouthed, a hint of mischief in his eyes. "Guess we're becoming quite the celebrities." I ignored Eli's antics, focusing on Allie's tone. "What can we do for you, Commander?" "The Starless," she replied, the name a sober reminder of the shadows lurking beyond the light. "They've been making moves, and we could use your insight." Gus shot me a look, his expression a mixture of caution and curiosity. "Seems like we're not done with our new friends." "We'll rendezvous," I said to Allie's, the decision firming in my mind. "Just give us the coordinates." As the transmission ended, Eli sat up, his gaze thoughtful. "Feels like we're being pulled into a bigger dance, doesn't it?" "Seems that way," I agreed, adjusting our course toward the coordinates Allie's had provided. "But we're no strangers to a good waltz." The journey was a quiet one, the hum of the engines a familiar companion as we traversed the starry abyss. The galaxy stretched before us, a tapestry of possibility painted across the infinite canvas of space. When we arrived at the rendezvous point, the TCS Vanguard awaited us, a silhouette against the stars, a steadfast presence amid the void. We docked with ease, the airlock sealing with a reassuring hiss. Allie's greeted us with a smile, her presence a steadying force in the center of the storm. "Good to see you again, Captain." And you, Commander, what's the situation? She led us to the Vanguard's war room, its walls lined with displays and holographic charts. Star maps flickered with marked positions, constellations rearranged by the hands of strategy and necessity. We've had reports of starless activity near several key waypoints, Alice explained, gesturing to the glowing nodes. They're moving with intent, but their goal remains elusive. I studied the map, the movements of our shadowed adversaries forming a pattern. Their presence was a dark tide against the backdrop of starlit order. They're probing, Gus said, tracing a route with his finger, testing the boundaries. Eli nodded, his expression thoughtful. Or they're searching for something. The Nexus, a beacon of knowledge and power. The realization struck like lightning, a clarity that illuminated our path. The Starless were not merely wanderers, they were seeking the threads of reality, the keys to the rift and its secrets. We need to secure the Nexus, I said, meeting Allie's gaze. Its knowledge can't fall into their hands. She nodded, the decision resonating between us. Agreed. We'll reinforce our patrols, but we'll need your expertise. We're with you, Eli said, his voice a steady promise. As we planned our next steps, I felt the weight of legacy on my shoulders. A legacy of explorers and guardians, of those who dared to traverse the unknown. The Vanguard's crew moved with purpose, their resolve a mirror to our own. In this fragile alliance, we had found a newfound strength, a unity that transcended individual ambition, bound by the shared vision of a galaxy free from shadow. Together we prepared for the dance to come, the echoes of legacy guiding us toward a future as yet unwritten. The universe spun on its axis, the stars our stage, and in the harmony of Lee, GHT and dark, we would find our truth.